Well, you all know about gender biased and you all know what politics is about. But what is this combination, gender and politics? Well, not many people have been talking about this being gender biased, being incorporated in politics. So, what is it all about? Gender and politics? People say that gender is all natural, that it is hierarchical because people have been following this since ages, so it is there even today. But we have to understand that it must be playing a different role in the politics. If you are not at peace, if you are not comfortable, if you are not given equal rights, then how can you have representation in politics? How can you voice against the injustice which has been done to you? So, in order to safeguard yourself, in order to see that you get equal representation, or rather you feel like a human being, you need to have representation in politics. First of all, let's see the division which is there, that is the gender division in public and private. Well, children, you all must have observed at home that it is your mother who is working day and night, washing clothes, making your breakfast, getting you ready for going to school, and your father rarely helps in this. Well, because he feels it is the job of your mother. It's the lady who has to do all these works, because home is actually where the lady is supposed to do everything. That's a mindset that is hierarchical, that has been passed on to us since generations, and it is not easy to actually come out of this. Well, the same man, the same father who does not work at home, when he gets job outside, well, let me tell you, the best cooks and the best tailors are in fact men. Not at home of course, in the world outside. When they get paid for that work, they readily do that work. They become best cooks, they become best tailors, but when they are told to do something at home, cooking or sewing, they feel that it is below their dignity. That is the sexual division of labor that we have. Very, very funny. Outside, they can do the same work to earn money, but not inside their homes. But look at the women. Women in the rural areas, or women in the urban areas, or women in the towns have all been working both inside and outside their homes without feeling that it is below their dignity. The women in the rural areas go out to fetch water, to collect firewood, and so many other jobs which they actually in fact have to step out of their house and do these works. And of course, it adds to the income of the family. Let me tell you this. So, the women in the rural areas are also moving out of their homes, of course, in a different dimension, in different fields. Well, women in rural areas go out to work in offices, schools, colleges, in universities, at so many places where earlier it used to be just male dominated. That is, they are moving outside their homes. So, whether it is the women of the rural area or of the urban area is working both at home as well as outside home. A very, very interesting statistic says that every woman works 1 hour more than a man. Look at the strength. But this has to be actually understood. We have to actually realize and give the due respect to the women. Okay? Women constitute, if not more, then at least half of the total population of the world. Well, when you are almost equal to the men in number, it is very, very sad that their role in politics is very, very minimum. That is, they in fact do not have as much representation as they should have because they are in almost half the number. Well, it's becoming very, very interesting, isn't it? I shall continue with it in the next clipping. Well, you all are aware of the fact that women constitute nearly half of the population, but they do not have active role in politics to play. And it has not been easy for them to get even voting right. You know, females have struggled in most parts of the world, even the so-called developed countries, to get voting right. Of course, exclude India. India gave the voting right to men and women at the same time. But in other countries, they demonstrated, they protested, they voiced against the injustice, and then they finally made this movement, the voting right movement, successful. Now see how gender and politics are related to each other. Supposing women had no representation in politics, then they would have not been able to tell the injustice that they face. Who would have gone and voiced what they actually feel about a particular law or a system? Well, then there were more radical groups, the radical women, who wanted change not only in public but also at home. They wanted laws to be changed. They wanted comfort, luxury. They wanted equal status for women even at home. And that is the feminist movement. That is just demanding equal right, equal representation, equal status in both public as well as at home. Next we have that there are few countries in the world, and it's very, very heartening to note that Sweden, Norway and Finland, here the ladies have, the females have a very high rate in public life. That is, they move about freely, they have good office jobs, they are almost at par with men. But this is not the case in India. The women lag behind the men in so many areas. Well, it's not because they are girls and because they are boys. No. There are various factors which actually go in the making of this, and that is, first of all, in India we have a patriarchal society. You all are aware of this word. I told you in the beginning of the chapter, the patriarchal society, that is, the head of the family is the male. Who dominates? Well, then he makes all the laws which suit him, all the laws which actually make his life comfortable and cozy. So the patriarchal society does not let the ladies flourish. They do not let the women actually grow as much as they should. Next we have the literacy rate. Well, in most of the Indian homes, the boys are given preference over girls as far as schooling and other educational qualifications are concerned. The parents are more bothered about educating a boy rather than a girl. So naturally this brings down the literacy rate of the females. Very, very sad. And this of course goes in the making of that Indian women have a lesser role to play in all fields, just because they do not get the opportunity to go and study, because they live in a patriarchal society which believes in male domination, which is headed by a male. Next, then naturally, when you are not highly educated, when you do not have that kind of outlook, when you have not seen that much of the world, the proportion of the highly paid jobs as far as men and women is concerned is more with men. They are more educated, they've seen more of the world, just because they've got that opportunity, they've got that in them, because the parents, their society, everybody has actually sided with them therefore. Now, even the Equal Wages Act, which the Indian government gave to the country, that is, all people irrespective of their gender shall get a fixed amount of money for the work they do. But it is very sad that the females who do the same job as compared to the men are lesser paid. Isn't it very, very sad? It's all these factors, children, which is actually making the females not at par with male. I shall continue about it in the next clipping. Well, children, you've already seen few causes which are responsible for making the women lag behind as far as the men are concerned. And it has nothing to do with their caliber, with their intelligence. It is actually to do with the society, about the system that we have, because it's a patriarchal society. The head of the family is a male who is looking for male preferences. Literacy rate, girls are not allowed to go and actually study and pick up big fat degrees, because parents want the son to go and get those degrees. Well, when you don't have a degree, when you do not have that kind of experience, you do not get highly paid jobs. All this is actually undermining them. It's making them go deep down below. Remember, this has nothing to do because a person is a girl or a boy. It's just because the social values, the culture, the society, which is in fact doing so much of harm to a girl child. Then the government, whenever it tries something, it cannot become a success unless the society does not abide by it. So, even if you say Equal Wages Act, all men and women get same amount of money if they work for a particular work. But in India, the females, whether in the rural areas or in the urban areas, whether in the industries or in the film industry and the sports, they are less paid as compared to their male counterpart, which is in fact very, very sad. It's not that a women's hockey team plays less, or it's the women cricket team which does not make that kind of effort as the male cricket team does. But look at the fact, the males get better paid and the females get paid less. Remember, not girls and boys. It's the mindset, it is the hierarchical system, the patriarchal system, which has actually gone deep into this society. Now, in India, it is very, very common for the parents to prefer a son over a daughter. They all wish they have a son and not a daughter. Even when a daughter is born, it is not a matter of celebration in the family. Son brings in lot of jubilation. So, when there is so much of unhappiness and sorrow at the birth of a girl child, what do you think? Will she bloom in life? Will she get those opportunities? Will she actually reach that height which a male counterpart can, which a boy can? Because at every step of his life, he is being supported by his parents, he is being supported by the society, and this brings in lot of difference. Well, the urban women, I feel, are the most harassed. They have been facing lot of domestic violence also. There is beating, there is physical torture, there is mental torture, there is harassment of women at home. So, which actually makes them a suppressed human being, which does not actually let them flourish, which does not let them fly in their ambitions that they want to, in the manner that they should. Well, you've already seen all those factors which go in the making of a good human being, and that is, rather you can say, a good boy and a bad girl in terms of the representation that you have. That because not good or bad doesn't mean a character or something, it means a well established human being. A girl is undermined, a boy is flourishing, and it is in fact all due to these points which we have just seen. I shall continue with it in the next clipping.